This is a pre-built version of this super minimal client server Python application with sockets, threading, and JSON. So let's go ahead and run the server and three clients all in command prompts. So we have the code in this directory, and let's go ahead and open up four command prompts. And let's go to the directory where we have our code. And set the path to where we have Python on this machine. And we'll run the server in this command prompt, and the clients and the three other command prompts. And they can all participate in the chat. And since this is a minimal app, we are not doing any checking when clients quit the chat. We will start by creating this directory, and this Python file will contain the server code, and this one the client code. Now this class will contain the server logic, and this function will drive it, and it is called from here. And this class will contain the client logic, and this function will drive the client, and we are calling it from here. And both the client and the server needs threading and sockets, and the client will be exchanging JSON messages, so we are also importing JSON here. And the server will be listening on this port, and if both the client and the server are on the same machine, then we can use localhost instead of the machine name. Where the server is running. And this will contain the connections associated with each one of the chat participants, and we are initializing it here in the constructor. And we'll pick up a socket on both the client and the server. So this indicates the socket family, so the family of protocols used as a transport mechanism, and this indicates the socket type, so the kind of communication between two endpoints, and this one is used for connection-oriented protocols. And the constructor here initializes the socket and we'll call it from here. And this method connects the client to the server given the server host, so the machine name for the server and the server port, where it is listening for incoming client connections. And on the server side, this method binds the host name and the port number to the socket. And this method listens for connections made to the socket. And this method forwards messages coming from one of the clients to the other participants of the chat. So we pick up the incoming message and send it to everybody in the chat except the sender. And we'll have this connect method and we instantiate a server and call it from here, passing in the socket that we picked up here. And here we have this forward message method called in a thread. So first we display this message indicating that the server is up and listening for client connections, and then we have this while always true loop, and here we call socket.accept, and this will accept incoming client connection and return connection and address. And connection is a new socket object used to send and receive data on the connection, and address is the address bound to the socket. So this was triggered when the client did this socket.connect. And we keep track of the connection here, and we forward incoming client messages here. And this should do it for the server. And here we have this method that handles sending messages. So we are in a while always true loop, and the outgoing JSON messages will have the message that was entered by the user, and we send it here. And we'll have this sent message called in a thread here. And this method handles receiving messages, and we call it from here. So here in a while always true loop, we are picking up the incoming message, the incoming JSON message, and printing it. And this should do it for the client. And finally, let's go ahead and test run the application. So we'll run a server and maybe have 4 clients. So the server is up and listening for connecting clients, and the client can exchange JSON messages. And we're not doing any checking, so when a client exits, we will have an exception on the server side.